All right, let's talk about fame. I mean, our complete and total fascination with it. Why are we so drawn to celebrities, to influencers? What does that intense, sometimes obsessive admiration really say about us?
I mean, have you ever really stopped to think about why you idolize that specific celebrity? It's almost never just about their talent, is it? It goes so much deeper than just, a good song or a great movie. We're going to unpack the surprising psychological truth here, how our favorite stars become these mirrors for our own hidden desires.
So to really get a grip on this, we need a core concept. Let's call it the idol mirror. This idea is key because it helps explain what's actually happening when we look up to our heroes.
So here's the thing about the idol mirror. It's not really about the celebrity at all. It's about us. It's this phenomenon where our admiration is actually a reflection, a projection of our own unspoken desires, our values, our ambitions. We see their perfectly curated lives, and we map our own hopes and dreams right onto them.
Okay, now research actually points to a strong link between certain narcissistic tendencies and being attracted to the idea of fame. But hang on a second, we're not talking about a personality disorder here. This isn't about clinical narcissism. We're talking about really common subclinical traits that pretty much exist on a spectrum in all of us. And it turns out these specific traits are a huge predictor of who is drawn to the spotlight.
And this really boils down to two key psychological drivers. On one side, you've got what's called grandiose narcissism. This is all about self-aggrandizement, the feeling that you deserve to be in the spotlight. But then, on the other side, there's vulnerable narcissism. And this comes from a totally different place, a place of deep-seated insecurity and a real need for validation from others.
Now, this is where it gets super interesting, because you can see how these traits predict what people actually want from fame. So, look, both types want visibility, right? They want to be seen. But that's where the similarities end. The grandiose types, they actually believe fame is a realistic goal for them. And get this, they're less interested in using that fame for, doing good in the world. But the vulnerable types, they're really drawn to the status and the wealth that fame brings, probably to help with those insecurities. But here's the twist. They don't actually think becoming famous is realistic for them. It's more of a fantasy.
Okay, so we've got the psychological pull, the initial attraction. But that's just step one. How does that initial interest morph into this incredibly powerful, almost personal bond with people we've never even met? And let's be real, probably never will.
Well, that connection has a name. Psychologists call it a parasocial relationship. And it's exactly what it sounds like, a one-sided kind of illusionary friendship. It's that feeling you get that you know an influencer, like they're a real friend, even though, they have no idea who you are.
And these relationships, they don't just pop up out of nowhere. They're built over time through constant exposure. You're watching every video, you're seeing every post, and that repetition creates this powerful illusion of intimacy. You start to feel like you know them, that you can trust them, that they're just like you. And of course, social media, with its direct-to-camera vlogs and get-ready-with-me style, is like the perfect petri dish for growing these bonds.
So you have this personal connection brewing. But then, the platforms themselves throw gasoline on the fire. It creates this intense feedback loop, a total echo chamber, or maybe more like a hall of mirrors, that shapes not just us, the audience, but the influencer too.
Okay, so here's how it works. Step 1. The influencer puts content out there. They're basically testing the waters, figuring out what their audience wants to see, what gets the likes, the comments, the shares.
Then, step 2. The algorithm notices. It sees all that engagement and it thinks, aha, people like this, so it does its job. It starts pushing that exact type of content to a way bigger audience, finding more and more people who are going to love it.
And for us, the audience, step 3 is that we feel seen. It's incredibly validating to find content that just gets you, that aligns perfectly with what you think and feel. It reinforces our whole worldview and makes us even more loyal.
But here's the final step, and this is absolutely crucial. The influencer, they aren't really just a person anymore. They become kind of shackled to the persona that works, the one that gets rewarded. They're being shaped in real time by both our desires and the algorithm, basically morphing into this super concentrated avatar of their followers' collective will.
So this whole process of carefully crafting the perfect online persona, well, it's now reaching its logical and, let's be honest, kinda unsettling conclusion. And that's all thanks to the explosion of artificial intelligence.
And I'm not talking about some sci-fi movie. This is happening right now. Take politics, for example. In Belarus, the opposition created an AI candidate. Their argument? A digital avatar can't be arrested, can't be silenced. And whether it ever makes it to a ballot is almost beside the point. The fact that it exists shows that we're starting to accept these synthetic personalities as real, credible figures.
And it's happening in the creator world too. I mean, influencers are literally cloning themselves with AI. One famous star launched an AI chatbot of herself, so now fans can pay $1 a minute to interact with a perfect virtual version of her 24/7. Think about that. It's the ultimate parasocial relationship, nonstop access to an ideal artificial persona.
So let's step back. What does all of this mean for us? Why should we care about this intense, algorithm-fueled, and now increasingly artificial idol mirror?
Well, the stakes are actually pretty high. We're talking about the erosion of real, authentic human connection. We're seeing echo chambers that amplify misinformation at terrifying speeds. That line between what's real and what's fiction, it's getting blurrier every single day. And this brings up massive ethical and legal questions around things like consent and manipulation, with huge implications for everything from our own mental health to the stability of democracy itself. So what's the solution? Look, the goal isn't to just throw your phone away and log off forever. It's about building awareness. It's about starting to question the motives behind the content we're consuming. We need to learn to tell the difference between healthy admiration and just blind adherence. It's about consciously reclaiming our own identity, our own values, instead of just borrowing the ones we see on screen. It really is about choosing our own authenticity over someone else's curated aspiration.
Because in the end, the idols we choose, they say so much more about us than they do about them. So the next time you find yourself scrolling just for a second, pause and ask yourself, what does my idol mirror reveal about me? What am I really seeing in this person that's actually a reflection of myself? The answer? Well, it just might surprise you.